All right, in the last lesson, I showed you how to create landing pages using the Thrive Architect Visual Editor. And on the second landing page I walked you through, I showed you how to connect a button on the page to a lightbox. So in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to create custom opt-in forms using the Thrive Architect Lightbox feature that's included with the plugin. Now, lightboxes are basically a pop-up, okay, but not the intrusive kind, all right? These are pop-ups that are triggered by your visitor clicking on a link or button. So they're overlaid over your page, meaning a visitor isn't leaving the page that they're on. Okay, they're simply being presented with an overlay that's got your opt-in form on it. Now the Lightbox feature is located in a different spot than the visual editor that you can access via any page or post. So let me show you where you can find these. All right, in your WordPress dashboard, you're looking for Thrive Lightboxes. So that's going to be in a different spot than you see the Thrive dashboard. It's usually up top. So again, you're looking for Thrive Lightboxes. If you click that, it'll open a window with all the default lightboxes and any new lightboxes that you created. So Thrive Architect does come with some default lightbox templates that you can use for your opt-in forms. But it's important to note that these templates aren't in the same format as the page templates, meaning these templates can't be loaded again and again, right? Once you update or change anything on these default templates, those changes will be saved and you won't be able to get back to the default template. If you hover over any of the default templates, you'll see an option to edit with Thrive Architect. If you click that, it'll open that lightbox in the Thrive Architect visual editor. Now, once you have the lightbox open, if you click the background layer, which all the elements reside in, you can save that as a template. Just like I showed you with the landing page that I built from scratch. But the saving process is a little bit different, so let me show you how to do this. So again, if you click on any element in the form and then make sure that you select the background section, up at the top left, you'll see this floppy disk icon. If you click that, you can now save this background section as a template. So here you're going to name the template whatever you want. I'm going to name mine Lightbox default template. You can also add a category which will help you sort things in your template library. So I'll go ahead and add Lightbox. Now I already have this in here. If I added something new, you'll see this option pop up to add as category. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Lightbox and add that category and then click Save. Now those elements have been preserved in your template library and you can use them on any new lightboxes you create. So let me show you how to create a new lightbox and then I'll show you how to add the template that you just saved. So you're going to go back to your WP dashboard and back to the lightboxes page. You're going to click Add New, which will open what looks like a new page or post in your WordPress dashboard. Here you want to name your lightbox. I'll name mine Branding Guide, since this will be the opt-in form for my branding ebook, and then hit Publish. Now you're going to click Launch Thrive Architect, which is going to open your new lightbox in the Thrive Architect visual editor. Now, as far as the visual editor goes, you're going to add elements and format things just like you would on any other page or post you're creating. You can drag and drop any elements from the right side menu, or you can add any template that you saved. And again, I don't mean page templates like we worked with the landing page. I mean the templates that you saved, just like we did with the default lightbox. That template that you just saved, you're going to click on Templates and Symbols, which will open your templates library. Here you can search for the template that you just created and then select Choose Template. And bam, there it is. Now you can customize things just like I showed you in the landing page lesson. You can replace your existing headline with yours and style it up to match your brand identity. You can update the opt-in form and connect it to your email provider, and you can swap out the image. Now, once you save it, you can go ahead and add it to the button on your landing page. So let me show you how to do that. So we'll go back to the landing page that we were working with. We'll click that button, scroll down to the Animation and Action section, click this pencil icon to edit. Make sure that the trigger is set to click and the radio dial for Open Thrive Lead Box is set. Then you're going to scroll for the box that you want to use or the light box you want to use. I'll go ahead and select that Branding Guide and then make sure Instant No Animation is selected and apply. Go ahead and save your page and I'll show you what this looks like in the browser now. Now once a visitor clicks this button, bam, There's your Lightbox. You can enter name, email, and submit, and it's going to go right to your account. Now these default templates are great, but what if you want a little more, let's call it pizzazz, right? So of course you can customize things until your heart's content. So let's go back to the Thrive Architect Visual Editor, and I'll show you some cool tricks for creating really beautiful branded opt-in forms and a couple other cool features that come with these light boxes. All right, so again, if you click on the light box, right? So if you click on any of the elements and then again come up here and make sure that you're on the Thrive light box, here's a couple cool things. So you can update the icon color of the close icon, the icon border, and the icon background. So let's say I wanted to, and keep your eye right here because I'm going to change the color. So I can change that to a lighter gray, apply that. I could change my, let's see, the icon color to the yellow. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cancel that out. But that's pretty cool. What I really like is that you can change the color of the actual overlay. So right now, you can see it here. You've got this dark black. Let's change it to my yellow so you can see. I'll go ahead and save this and I'll show you it again in the browser. So right now, this is what the overlay looks like, right? It's black in the background. Let me refresh this and I'll show you what it looks like now. Bam! We got a yellow overlay now. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a light gray. Perfect. That's a little less distracting while we get our design on. All right, now let's do some more design magic. I'm going to transform this light box with pretty much very little effort, all right? So follow along. I don't want to lose you. So if we're still in the light box setting, right, and we come over to this right side menu, you can add a background color or an image just like we did with the pages. So we can say, all right, we want a yellow color background. We want an image. I'm going to go ahead and go with the image. I'm going to select one of my patterns. That's already looking pretty cool. We'll apply that. I'm also going to add a subheadline because that's just part of my graphic style. So I'll drag in a new heading and I'll style that up. And I'll update this. Since I added a headline above that, I'll take out grab and I'll change this gray to a white since we've got a really dark background now. I also want a little paragraph, a little blurb, so I'll go ahead and drag that above the heading, paste in my copy, and again, format that up. And I'll go ahead and duplicate that element and drag it below here and just put a little message about their information not being shared. Perfect, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do a little bit of styling to this box. I don't like the space in between here, so I'll go ahead and click that, edit form elements, and see what kind of padding is driving that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this 15 padding. Perfect, I like that better. And then go ahead and save and close. All right, let's save this and look at it in the browser. Bam, that looks pretty damn good, right? Remember, we went from this to that in not many clicks. So let's do a little bit more styling because I want you to see the endless possibilities for even these light boxes. So I love this trick. So I'm going to click on the lead generation and go ahead and open the form elements. Now I love this. All right, so you have columns. You can also create columns without using the columns feature. If you drag an element and see it has that prompt, that blue prompt on the right, bam, you can stack your input fields. I love this, right? So let's save and close that. Pretty cool, right? You can do the same thing. Let's go back in and you can drag this button over to the side. Now it's starting to get a little wonky, so we want to take this out of this background section, and we actually want to put it in its own background section. So I'm going to add a background section. I'm going to drag this lead generation feature into that section. Now I've got my column right here. Now I'm going to move these subheadlines or the subheadline, the headline, and the paragraph into this right column. And I'm just going to do that by dragging. First, I'm going to drag this below the lead generation. And now one by one, I'm just going to drag these into the column. All right, so now we've got some margin that's pushing this down. So let's go open this back up. We see 20 right here. I'm going to remove that, save and close. So here's what you can do. So now this lead generation and this message right here, I'm going to dial the size of this down just a little bit more. There we go. Now this is housed in its own background section. So let's make sure we're in that section. And again, guess what we can do? We can add a background color. So let's add the yellow for right now. Actually, I'm going to add the teal just so you can see this nice and bright. While I do this, I'm going to change the color, but I want you to be able to see this, how everything's working. All right, so I'm going to apply this teal color just so it's nice and bright. Now you see we've got some space right here on the edge, and I want this to touch every edge that it hits, right? Well, what's happening is at the Thrive Lightbox level, there's some padding. So if you make sure you're in the Thrive Lightbox, and you come to the padding, right here there's 15. Now, if you click this center, it looks like a paper clip kind of, it's the link button. If you click that, now once you change one of these, it will change all four. Okay, if this is unclicked, I can adjust this one all by itself. But if I click this, I save myself some time, I can press 0, and it will take away the padding on each side. So perfect, we no longer have that. You see now this is back to the edge. We love that. We lost the padding up here, but no problem. I'll show you how to fix that. So this has its own background section that we can target, right? So we'll go to the background section and we'll just apply the padding there, right? So we pretty much just moved it. So again, this is still linked. Everything's got a 1. We'll just dial that up to 15 and get the padding back the way we liked it here. I'm going to apply a little margin here to bump this down. Let's see, so I'll unlink this, so I'm only applying it to the top, and I'll apply maybe 20 pixels. Perfect. Then I'm going to go ahead and click this and fix the line height. Perfect. Now let's come back down to this section. All right, so again, this is right up to the corner. I definitely don't like that, so let's go to this background section and apply some padding there. So again, we'll make sure this is linked, and we'll bump this one up to, let's say, 15. Yay, I'm loving that. All right, now I'm going to change the color to a dark. Actually, one last thing. You see how there's rounded corners on this box? Well, because we added this background section, now the bottom 2 corners don't have a rounded edge. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that, make sure I'm at the background section, and come down to the corners, and I'm not going to apply it to all 4, otherwise it's going to get rounded on these top sections, and I don't want that. So I'm going to hit the bottom left, dial that up to, there's a 6 pixel rounded edge on the Lightbox, so I'm going to hit 6, and then come over to the right side and apply 6 there as well. Now I'm going to change the color to the actual color I want to use. So I love this trick. I love to use a darker color, or about the same color as the background, right? So it'll be a black, and then dial the transparency down to about 50%. So it's still dark, but you can tell it differentiates it from the rest of the form. And then I'll go ahead and apply that, and I am loving this. All right, let me save this and show you this in the browser. Oh, I like that. Now, obviously, there's a little bit too much room here, so I'm going to go ahead and come back to the Thrive Architect Visual Editor, and I'm just going to apply some margin to this sub-headline and bump just this right column down a bit. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll unlink it and just apply, let's see, maybe 35. That looks good. I'm also going to dial down the size of this just a bit, which will also help. And then I'm going to right align. Actually, maybe center. Center looks better, right? So it was left aligned, which gave it even more space right here. And you can see in the column, right at the left aligned, you can center or even right align. I'm going to go ahead and choose center, save it, and then let's view again in the browser. So let me refresh this. And there we go. I love it. Now, I'm going to do one more variation of this bottom, just again to show you all of your options, and I'm also going to fix this. So again, I'm a designer, so I get really hung up on the littlest. It's all about the details for me, but if you can see, these input boxes are just a tad bit shorter, right? This button comes down a little bit longer. I want to fix that, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so first thing, let's fix that button. So we'll click inside the lead generation form, come up here and edit the form elements. We'll click on the button. Now, if we click on the input fields and we look at the pattern and margin, so it's got 10 and 10 and 15 and 15. So let's click the button and see, because it must be different. Yep, it's got 13 and 13 instead of 10, and that's making that difference. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust these back to 10. Save and close. And there you go. Now it is looking all kinds of even. Now this time what I want to do is change this whole background section to yellow and then change the button so that it actually pops. So first we'll change the button. So we'll go back to the edit form element. We'll click the button and we'll change this color to, let's say, my dark gray with no transparency. So we'll dial that back up. We'll save that and then we'll hit the hover color. And we'll change that to, we'll take that linear gradient off. I don't like that. And we'll change this to, let's say, my medium gray. Perfect. We'll save and close that. Perfect. So now let's change this background section to the yellow. So we'll click that, make sure we're in the background section, come down to the background style, come into this color and adjust it to the yellow. Look how awesome. Let's save that and look at it in the browser. All right, bam! That looks pretty damn sick too. All right, so let's take a little stroll down memory lane and remember how we got here. Right, so we started with this first default template and we just swapped out the images that were actually there, or the elements that were actually there. Right, the headline, we connected the form, and we swapped out the image. Next, we added a background, a subheadline, a paragraph, styled up the opt-in box a little bit more, and added this sort of privacy disclaimer. Then we moved everything from the top into the right side column, and we moved the opt-in form itself down to the bottom, and instead of stacked, we put it side by side, right, with this sort of transparent dark overlay, but pretty subtle. And then we got here. I mean, this looks so amazing. Quite a bit different from this, right? Not hating on this, not hating on whatever game you want to use, but look where you can get in very little effort. All right, so one last thing. Before you are ready to call it a day with your Lightbox or opt-in form, I want you to go through the same mobile test that you did with the landing page. So I wanted you to check things out on tablet and mobile. Now, something important to keep in mind, that if you use that side-by-side for your opt-in form, it is going to change a little bit on the two mobile devices, right, on a tablet and mobile. So on tablet, it's going to have the input field side-by-side and the button underneath, right? I still think that looks amazing. And then let's look at that on mobile. It's actually going to stack the whole form back up. Now, one last tip. So sometimes on mobile, especially when I'm using an image, I mean, because everything gets stacked, it looks a little wonky, right? I'm loving all of this, but having the guide at the top, it just doesn't really look good, and it kind of just looks like I threw it there, right? Here's another cool thing you can do with Thrive. If I click on this image, if you come over here, let's scroll up like you weren't at this, look for the responsive section. You can click any device to have an element not visible. So we're on the mobile, I have the image clicked, I'm going to click on this bar right, this mobile device, and bam. So now that guide image is not going to appear on a mobile device, but it will still be there on tablet, and it will still be there on desktop. And you can do that on any page, any post. This isn't just for Lightboxes. This is anywhere, right? I'm going to just be feeding you knowledge bombs through all these lessons, and a lot of it is going to apply across everything. But I can't cover everything in one lesson. So this is another really cool tip and another important part of checking mobile. Sometimes, in a tablet, sometimes a certain element is just not going to look good. It's just not going to do it, right? And again, you can format anything. So if I thought, I'm not really liking how this is formatting, I can play around with the size. Right, so we can say we could go a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. Oh, that looks good. And I can even play with the line height just a tiny bit. Perfect. I am loving that. All right, and then once you're all good to go, I'm going to switch it back to desktop, save it, and you are ready, right? So you can connect this opt-in form to any link and any button on any page or post, right? It's the same exact way, right? So I showed you the button. You're going to come to the actions, and so let's pretend if we didn't have this, I'll show you it one more time because I want you to understand this. This is such a powerful part of Thrive. So you click the pop-up, make sure it's on click, open up Thrive. You're going to search for whichever lightbox you want to appear, click apply, and you're done. Now let me show you how to link them. You're going to do the same sort of thing. So you can link this. Now, remember I said in the landing page that when you type something, it'll start searching and it'll grab your pages, posts, and lightboxes. So here we go. Here's that branding guide lightbox that I created. I'm going to insert that. I can come back up here and format that so it's white again, or I can make it yellow. Let's say yellow because I like my links yellow. I'm going to go ahead and save this page and show you one more time in the browser. So this works great for blog posts or pages or, again, anywhere where you want a lightbox to be triggered by a link, not a button. So instead of clicking the button, let me click the link that we just created, and bam, the same lightbox is going to appear. So you can use lightboxes again for links or buttons. So go forth, create your fly as fuck opt-in boxes. You can use lightboxes in any way you want. If you want to add a video and link those in some blog posts, it is really sky's the limit. Like I said, you can use anything in this right side menu, right? So it doesn't just have to be opt-in forms. Anything, like I said, buttons, you can have a click to tweet, you can have all kinds of mechanisms that are triggered by a click and will open up this type of lightbox. So have a blast, and as always, if you have any questions, holler below in the comments section or tag me in the Solopreneur Society. I'm happy to help. And again, if you haven't purchased your Thrive Architect license, I would be forever grateful. Prayer hands. I got the prayer hands up. I would be forever grateful if you would purchase through my link, and I have that linked below for you. So have a blast, and in the next lesson, we're going to cover all kinds of time-saving tips, right? So I'm going to show you a bunch of setup things. I'm going to show you how to set up your custom fonts so you don't have to go through that rigmarole every time. I'm going to show you how to set up your colors and a bunch of other, like I said, time-saving tips. So I will see you in the next lesson.